Hello, everybody. It's Jonas Lamas here with Tezos today. And today we're going to do a new kind of update. We're going to do a news roundtable. So I've brought back one of our old friends, Mike Monohan, who is the founder and CEO of MyCryptoDelegate. And he was also the first guest on Tezos today. And I've invited Mike back, and Mike and I are going to go through some interesting Tezos news, some community items that we want to make sure everybody's aware of, maybe talk a little bit about cryptocurrencies and blockchain in general, and just have a conversation here. My goal is to have these news updates every couple of weeks and bring in special guests from the community to join me to talk about what's going on in the world of Tezos and cryptocurrency. So Mike, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for having me back on the show. There's been a lot of good updates in the Tezos world and in the crypto world as well in the last month or few weeks. So it's good that we have this new platform to discuss what's going on new in the world.
Totally. Now, one of the new updates that I'm aware of is that you've started tweeting. Right. I saw that you now have a Twitter account with a rapidly growing group of followers. So tell everybody how has Twitter been for you coming up to speed in the crypto world, and what kind of information are you getting from the Twitterverse?
Well, yeah, actually, I mean, I started Twitter based solely on your recommendation. I saw that you were doing great on Twitter, and you asked me about my Twitter, and I kind of looked at you with a dumbfounded face of amusement. And so, yeah, so I started a Twitter account, just at CryptoDelegate. And it's just me, reading about what's going on in the crypto world. I'm posting mostly Tezos related stuff, but I do post things that have to do with general blockchain updates, news about China, what they're doing, JP Morgan, what they're doing, a lot of things that are relevant to the whole blockchain world. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. It really has increased my education level on what's going on in the world, just reading about what other people are posting about. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Cool. All right. Well, welcome to the Twitterverse, and best wishes to you to get to 1,000 followers.
Well, let's make it happen.
But anyway, I'm sure we'll all get there eventually. So. Yeah, so let's start with some news that we have about the Tezos team. When we had our first Tezos hangout, I think it was back in early August in San Francisco. Arthur came in. We met Kathleen, of course, as well, and we also met Jill Carlton, who was at the time, I think, just joining the Tezos team. But big news that we learned this week, that she is now the general manager of the Tezos Foundation.
Yep.
So, yeah, I know you've heard Jill talk a couple times. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, the new Betting on Blockchain video that I think you have on the screen right now that just came out, hosted by Cloudflare. And she and the founder of Filecoin do a really nice talk about general blockchain updates, what does the world look like in the blockchain community? And in general, I get a very good sense that Jill, she knows her stuff. She speaks with a sense of authority and knowledge that really makes you feel like Tezos Foundation has found someone good and it's in really good hands. So I really enjoyed talking to her in San Francisco, and also enjoyed, well, actually also twice in San Francisco, but also just enjoy seeing updates coming specifically from her. She also has a good Twitter page as well, so you should find her on Twitter and keep track of her there as well.
Yeah, and for folks who are just starting to learn about the Tezos world, you should know that the Tezos Foundation is the nonprofit based in Switzerland that actually did the fundraiser, and the Tezos Foundation has a board of directors, and Jill is now the general manager of it. Arthur and Kathleen are the founders of DLS, which is a company that has been originating the Tezos code base. And so there's a strong separation between those two things, as Arthur and Kathleen have said before. And so now we have good leaders on both sides of that, on the DLS side and on the foundation side.
That's right.
Great.
So it's good to know that that things are progressing nicely in that the leadership perspective.
Awesome. Now, a couple other places that people may want to watch to hear from the Tezos leadership team. One area is with what Kathleen presented recently. She was on a podcast called This Week in Startups, and that was a really good place where she was interviewed by Jason Calcanis. And I've got that up on the screen here. Mike, can you see that on your screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, yeah, great. So this podcast is highly recommended. Kathleen does a great overview of where things are with Tezos and with crypto world in general.
Yeah, it was a good podcast. Jason really knows his stuff. I mean, the guy's been around so long that his Twitter handle is actually @Jason. So you know that the guy's been in this space for quite a long time. He's got a lot of companies under his belt, and so the questions that he asks are very good, very knowledgeable. But he also allows some of the people who are a little less knowledgeable about topics to catch up to speed as well. So it's definitely worth checking out the podcast.
Yeah, totally. And then the third set of videos you may want to watch involve Arthur. We published previously on Tezos Today a series of videos with Arthur that we recorded at the Menlo Park Tech Talk last month. Mike, you found one other interesting video with Arthur recently?
Yeah, there's one called there's one from CoinScrum that is out there, and I think that you'll probably post a link to it. And it's Arthur again going into kind of the details of the current code base, some of the updates that they're making, and answering some of the more technical questions. So I would definitely, if you're interested in the technical aspect of it, I would definitely check that out. If you're interested in the business update aspect, then definitely I would say check out Kathleen's. That seems to be how they tend to operate. Is Kathleen is very much the business update type content, and then Arthur would be more of the technical type updates.
Yep, totally. Awesome. So those are the interesting links we've got this month regarding the foundation and DLS. People have been asking about a September update from the foundation. Certainly, I know that Jill is actively focused on delivering that kind of update. We're all standing by to read it, and I expect in the next couple of days we should have something that we can all sink our teeth into about what the team has been doing. Cool. So let's move on to talk about the community and different community sites that people should be aware of. One of the main places where you and I and other Tezians or whatever we are hang out on a regular basis is the Riot channel. So let me just share what that looks like here real quick with everybody. Okay, Mike, looks like you've been posting recently there on the Riot channel.
Yeah, there's a really great article that just got published that I was trying to get people to read. So.
Sure. So tell us about what kind of interactions we're having on the Tezos Riot channel and what the different chat rooms are there.
Yeah, there's I personally in about 4 different rooms. I think there's 4. There's the main Tezos room, which is on their screen right now. That's just a general chat conversation. Try to keep it less technical and less discussions of price predictions. There's a specific room just for the AlphaNet where people chat about issues that they're having or questions that they have on how to access the AlphaNet, how to do various different technical updates. So that's the I guess you could say hashtag Tezos room. And then there's also the another room where it's Tezos Trader. And that's really where people go to debate what they think a price will be, or compare, to just talk about general cryptocurrency prices. that we like to keep out of the main Tezos room. And then Tezos Media, which really just has a flair of the news of the day regarding cryptocurrencies, blockchains, Tezos as well. And so there's really kind of a flavor for everyone out there. The main Tezos room now has, see, 1,288 people, and it's grown dramatically. When I joined in, in the single or double digits when it first started up, and it's every single day there's 50 people or so that join. So it's growing very nicely. There's a lot of people that are on there fairly consistently. Arthur just literally posted an answer to a question 5 minutes ago. So Arthur's on there from time to time to answer questions as well. And there's a really great group of people that just sit there, chat, share our enthusiasm for Tezos as a platform and share the community.
Yeah, prior to the fundraiser, we had a Slack channel, and the Slack channel was a popular place for people to talk. But the problem was that it got overrun by spam bots and by people trying to scam folks, and so we moved over to this Riot site, and it's been really a great place. It's definitely, if you're wondering what the pulse of the Tezos community is, definitely the Riot channels are the best place to find that thing.
Yeah, then I would say secondarily to that, Reddit is a good place also to to chat with people regarding Tezos. Usually there you get a little bit more of an outsider view, people who are not necessarily as active within the community but still have opinions. So I'll say start off with the Tezos, Riot/Matrix room. Go for the IRC Tezos room if you want the technical questions. And if you want just a general Reddit style chat, there's plenty of opportunity there as well, and plenty of people on there chatting.
Cool. And now I would be remiss not to share the Tezos.community website, right?
Of course.
Which is our discussion forum site where we've got hundreds of different topics that have been brought up over the last 90 days or so, with threads associated with those. I think of Tezos community as a place where you can go to find legacy information about any conversation that may have been more ethereal in the Riot rooms, for example. You can see like this one here, this third down topic here, 80% may be too high of a threshold for amendments. This is a very active thread right now. There was over 20 different people have been contributing to it in the last 6 hours about what people think how the protocols need to be structured in order to be able to successfully reach consensus within the Tezos protocol capability.
The really great thing about this is that when you're in the Riot room, you can lose the conversation very quickly. It's just a nonstop stream of chatting. When it comes to the forums.tezos community site, you get a much more structured view. You can have a good conversation. You can catch up on various different topics very easily. Riot is really just a waterfall of information that just kind of flows by.
Totally. Now, one other interesting site that I want to share here in the community space is a newcomer called Tezos Agora. And I'm going to pull that up on my screen right here. All right, Mike, what is Tezos Agora?
Yeah, Tezos Agora is a really cool project that was first proposed in the Riot Matrix rooms, trying to figure out a way of getting a chat where only people who had contributed to the actual Tezos ICO could contribute to. And it was, I think, an attempt to get people who are very serious in the community and filter out some of the people that may or may not have firsthand experience knowledge. And really, it was just a science experiment. It's actually turned out very, very well. What it is that you take your public key that you got during the ICO and just add it into the wallet address that you see on the screen here. And one thing to remember is that the public key is very much that. It's public. So I added my key to this. I don't have any issues with it. They're not tracking based on your key. Really, it's just to validate that you actually did contribute to the ICO. And then it sends you an authorization link that gets you into a Discord chat room. and
and
the number of people are significantly fewer.
Yep.
So, yeah, this other one, I think you're down to, aren't you?
Am I in the wrong room here?
It's a little black hash mark one, I think. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, so this is it. You see a lot of the usual suspects in this room, but it's definitely a really interesting use case on the technology that someone put together. I think it's the Irwin 3R win that you see on the screen right there. I think it was the majority person who put this together.
Yeah. Yeah, I like, so Tezos Agora, certainly in the Riot rooms, we have a group of early adopters who are very focused on trying to build strong community. They want to contribute, they want to collaborate with each other, and they want to create a legacy for what Tezos is. And, kudos to them for starting a new site where they can freely converse with like-minded people and avoid the trolls. As we've seen, and almost all of these other sites have had some troll issues at one point or another.
The Riot room has been, I think the Riot room has been pretty good. There was a bit of spam a couple of days ago. Somebody figured out a way of blasting the Riot room with a bunch of spam, but other than that, it's been pretty quiet. It's almost all very relevant content.
Totally. Okay, so another area that is interesting from a community perspective is in the meetups that are going on. And there's so far we haven't created a real efficient way, I think, to organize meetups. The first one that I did was on Eventbrite. Arthur pulled together the Menlo Park event through meetup.org website. I know that the guys at University of Illinois, Gordon at UIUC, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, did a meetup recently, and we just came across the Tezos NYC community that has 37 members now, as you can see here, and that is they're having their first event. Let's see, when is their first event? Is going to be Wednesday, October 25th. So. As part of the work that I'm doing with Tezos community, I have put together a Google Calendar where I'm starting to track these things. However, I don't have a good place to show it yet. So I am doing some web work in the next week or so on Tezos.community to be able to incorporate a couple of things like a calendar for folks. What's been your impressions on the meetup so far?
Well, I think that they've gone very well. I mean, the community is just ramping up, so it's natural that we haven't had that many meetups. But you guys, you can tell they're starting to sprout. I think I heard rumors of an LA one coming up as well. I don't think I'll be able to make it out to New York City. I would love to. I'll see what I can do on my calendar. But it's very, very. Oh, there's also the one in Paris a couple weeks ago as well. So that's very encouraging. We're now a multi-continent. Meetups, which is very fun to see.
Awesome. Yep. So I think we're just at the beginning of an amazing community getting built around the world around Tezos fans, aficionados, developers, and users. And I'm optimistic that over the next couple of months, certainly between now and when the mainnet launches, we will we'll figure out how to we'll figure out how to have a centralized place for people to find other community members in the real world. So one of the next ones, Mike, to talk about here is some thought leadership that we've come across. So just yesterday, a gentleman by the name of Ed Posnack published a really interesting Medium post, which you can see here on your screen, called "The Origin of Smart Contract Platforms," where he does a review of certain aspects of Tezos and some comparison to the Ethereum blockchain. I know you've given this a read. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the best things that I've come across. When it comes to community-driven content. I didn't actually see this yesterday. I saw the link and I didn't actually click on it until today. And I read through it once, and I had to start completely from the top and reread the article because there's so much content here. There's so much insight that you'll miss it, unless you're very, very technical, you'll miss some stuff. So it's definitely worth a read. I went through it. I even took a whole page of notes just to help me keep track of this stuff. And it also really goes to show that the community is coming together in a really great way, because this is not just a one person's view. This is not just Ed posting his views. This is a combination of Ed, our 0 Hour Zulu community member, and there's even one more. I'm going to space out on his name here real quick, but it's a combined effort, which I really like to see, because it means that the community is working, and that's very positive.
Yeah, one of the interesting things
Klaus.
one of the interesting things that we see happening, at least that I've observed happening, is Arthur and the DLS team are very focused. They're heads down on getting the main net running, and they have a large development team in Paris and elsewhere that is focused on that. The community of folks who are fans but not affiliated with DLS themselves is coming together and building a lot of interesting structure, so that as the mainnet comes online, we're really going to be able to accelerate into it.
Yeah. No,
so there's a number of, I think what we're going to do next is show a number of the early projects that we're seeing on the AlphaNet, what kinds of projects people are working on. And to your point, most of these folks that we're going to share now, they're not directly tied to the core development effort in the development team, and they're largely working off a code base in GitHub that is some degree behind where the core developers are, which makes sense. But nevertheless, they're still building really interesting things with the capability that they have on the AlphaNet.
Yeah, it's definitely really exciting to see what people are putting together, given the information that they have on hand. So let's
take a look at. Well, why don't we first talk about Milo's most recent site here. I will share his AntiPatterns website here. All right. So Milo, who was, I think, the second person that I interviewed on Tezos today, is an intern who is working with the DLS team. He's an American, but is in Paris for a 6-month stint. I think he's still over there. And he has been, he was the originator of the Mickelson Contract a Day website, where he was publishing a different contract, smart contract every day during August. And now in September, he was heads down with the team for a little while. And now I understand that he's back with a new website here on anti-patterns and vulnerabilities. So have you taken a look at this yet?
Yeah, I've glanced at it. I read when he first posted in the Riot Room about his desire to kind of switch over from just posting one-a-day smart contracts to playing a little bit of a vulnerability game. So he's posting smart contracts with where he intends to make an error, and somewhere within it, the code is an error that you're supposed to figure out what went wrong, and then he's going to answer it after a certain amount of time. He'll say, well, I think it's a week to answer the problem in the code. So it's a very fun way of engaging the community, and not just spoon-feeding them contracts, but engaging them in a way in which people can test their own skills to see if they can figure out the problem in the code. So it's very, very clever. I can't say that I spot all the code errors, but I'm sure that there are a lot of people in the community that do.
Yeah, totally. So, kudos again to Milo for putting this together. He's only got one. He published his first one yesterday, I think it was, 2 days ago. This password contract, and he's going to do one every week, he said. So that's a cool place to go to learn more about code. Another set of things that's going on is folks are starting to build wallets and delegation technologies. Now, of course, MyCryptoDelegate that you run is building a delegation service. And as you know, we also talked to Bo on Tezos today a couple weeks ago, who's running Tezzigator, and there are others as well. So what's the state of delegation tools, Mike?
Yeah, this is an interesting site. So I think Bo just published this last week, and it really goes to show that there's a lot of activity. He's very, very active, especially in the IRC Tezos room, the technical Tezos room. And so in this site, I've dug through it a little bit. It's very, very promising. There's a lot of good content here that talks about now none of this obviously is the main net. It's not launched yet. So everything on here is based on the what's currently launched in the alphanet. And so there's various different baking operations, different priority levels. There's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I agree completely. What's really exciting here is when Bo and I did our hangout a couple weeks ago, he was still struggling to be able to demonstrate the AlphaNet running in a repeatable manner. There was a number of downtime. It was freezing up quite a bit. Now that might have been a local issue that they had at that point in time, but now with the Tezzigator delegation wallet that we were just showing there, you can see it running right now. You can see things baking. You can see rewards being received and so forth and so on. So pretty exciting to see the progress there.
Yeah, it's very cool. Cool stuff.
We also came across Tezz Wallet this week, which I will share out here. Now that we don't have, I don't have a link to the with the wallet running on the AlphaNet. I don't.
No, it's just tezzwallet.cc.
Yeah, let's see. Right, so here's their website. Do you know anything about these guys?
This one's actually been around for a while. This is one of the first announced wallets that I saw that was posted in the Riot Matrix room. I've chatted a little bit with Latte Jed, that's who's making this on there, and it seems promising. I don't know a whole lot of the technical details, but we're definitely keeping our eyes out for this one because phone-based wallets are just inherently more secure. So hopefully this one can be a good addition to the overall Tezos ecosystem. So yeah, we're definitely going to be looking for updates on this one in the near future.
Excellent. And then the kind of the last tech piece I wanted to mention is a startup called Betting Win, which we don't really know much about. I've reached out to the Betting Win team to invite them to join, to come on Tezos today and talk to us about their project. But what I did find today is that they are now also writing Mickelson smart contracts on GitHub, and you can go and review their code directly there, which is pretty cool. They've published a token, a Tezos token smart contract today. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I just found out about this this GitHub code just today as well. I was a little bit skeptical when I first heard the response. I didn't know anything about them, but this definitely, in my mind, adds more credibility to the project that there's at least something out there. So it'll be very interesting to hear from the development team, find out what their plan is, find out who they are, and what their goals are. And I'm very, very excited about this one if it turns out to be something that gets launched sometime soon.
Yeah, totally. So the Betting Win team reached out. They did a lot of tweeting about an ICO that they were doing, and kind of part of their model apparently is that they want to put a token on top of the Tezos blockchain when the mainnet is launched. I think there was a significant degree of skepticism among the community that this was the real deal because they were so early in this process when we're just getting the AlphaNet running. But what it appears, at least, that they're starting to contribute from a code perspective. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah,
and we'll see what happens. I mean, can't say for sure now, but definitely looking for more from them in the future to figure out exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think that covers most of the links that I wanted to share. Mike, anything you want to wrap up with?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how the community is evolving and growing, and I really like the support that everyone's giving online. There's always going to be questions, and if you have them, there's going to be people who are going to help you answer. You know, we at MyCryptoDelegate, we're open to people coming to us if you're looking to contribute into our project. If you're technical and want to get in on our project, so feel free to ping me. I'm pretty easy to find. So I'd love to chat with anyone who's looking to get into that world.
You have specific recruiting needs that you're looking for right now?
Oh, I'm always open. Yeah, I mean, we can definitely chat. I definitely could use an extra developer if somebody's interested and has the right skill set. So definitely open to with anyone in the community that feels like they want to contribute.
Yeah, and likewise with Tezos community, I'm always looking for designers, content creators and contributors, folks who want to help moderate our forums and so forth and so on. So you certainly can reach out to us at Tezos community on Twitter or in many of the channels that we discussed today.
Yeah, I don't think either of us are hard to find. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, thanks to our guest, Mike, for being part of the first Tezos Today news roundup for I guess this would be our news roundup for the month of September for Tezos. And like I said, I hope to do these at least once a month and hopefully more often as the community grows and the number of things to look at gets really interesting over the next couple of months. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see y'all online and look forward to chatting again real soon.
Thank you very much. Have a great one.